Recently, I released a video about the international versions of the Digital Circus. However, that video didn't show you all the cool stuff I found in different dubs. In today's video, I'll show you the other interesting adaptations from the amazing Digital Circus. This video will feature Mexican, Japanese, German, Polish, Filipino, Ukrainian, and other dubs. Let's get started. There's a hilarious moment in the Russian dub at the beginning of the episode. In one of my videos, I mentioned that in Russian, the name Pomni means remember. Well, in Pomni's nightmare in the second episode, Jack says in Russian that he doesn't remember Pomni's name. The thing is that in Russian, it sounds completely different. It's hard to translate, but he says something like, I don't remember's name.
I don't even remember her name, honestly.
Честно, я даже имени ее не помню.
As you probably remember, the princess calls Cain God at the beginning of the episode. But this doesn't happen in all dubs. For example, in Polish, he's called Sir, not God.
You must be the brave knight sent to us by God.
To zapewne was twojów przysłał nasz Pan.
I think this adaptation kinda changes the perception of Cain, because he seems a little bit less powerful in this version. Now let's talk about the episode's title. In the original, it's called Candy Carrier Chaos. But in the Polish dub, it's called something like Sweet Syrup Matter.
Candy Carrier Chaos!
Słodka sprawa syropu!
In Ukrainian, it's called Sugar Chaos on Wheels.
Cukrowy chaos na kolesach!
I already told you about Gengel's figurine. It seems like she's hiding something from Ragata. Now, in the Japanese dub, they replaced the figurine with something else.
Do it, or I'll tell Ragatha about the figurine thing.
やれ、出ないとラガタにあのことを言うぞ。
So, in the Japanese version, Gengel isn't hiding a physical thing, but something she did to Ragata. Interesting. And again, about the Polish dub, since it had a lot of interesting things. For some reason, the sound quality in Polish is a bit off. Especially towards the end, it sounds too much like Jax is talking from some kind of studio or room. In the original, the processing of his voice is much more natural.
Macie może tira, który potrafi latać?
Ta! Nie, czekaj, nie mamy. Raczej nie.
Do you guys have a second truck that flies?
Yeah. Wait, no, we don't. No, not at all.
It's about the same with Ragata.
Pomni! Wszystko okej? Co się stało? Pomni! Are you okay? Well, what happened?
I don't know why it's like this, but this is a downside of the Polish dub of this episode. Now let's talk about Gamigu. When he realizes he was an NPC, he became sad. But when he recovered, he asked Pomni not to tell his crocodile friends anything. The thing is that in the German version, he calls them colleagues, not friends, which lessens the tension and sincerity of this moment. After all, they're just colleagues for him, not buddies.
You still care about your buddies up there, don't you?
Du machst dir doch trotzdem Sorgen deine Kollegen, oder?
Also in Hungarian, they adapted Faj's name in a really cool way. They called him Krimes. This is the name of a Hungarian dessert, and it also means creamy.
Én vagyok krémes!
The Spanish dub is the only one where the signs were voiced. In the scene where the characters arrive at the kingdom, some signs say danger and keep out. In absolutely all versions except Spanish, they were not voiced. I don't know why Spanish was the only one who did it.
Cuidado.
There was another funny scene. Gamigu in the original calls his friends bright-eyed gabas, but in Polish he says they see life through rose-colored glasses. This perfectly conveys the meaning.
You're a couple of broad-eyed gabas. To byłby w różowych okularach.
As you remember, in the original, the jelly crocodiles have an Australian accent.
We won't know for sure until we get back to the village. She's a fighter though.
I haven't noticed any dub trying to add a similar feature to the crocodiles. In all languages that I could understand well enough, they speak the same way as other characters. However, as for the accent, in the German version, Pomni sometimes seems to have a Bavarian or some other accent. I can't say for sure. Germans, please comment on this.
Ich weiß auch nicht. Wir sind irgendwo unter der Map, denke ich.
In the Hungarian dub, the reference to Augustus Gloop was also changed. A chocolate factory is directly mentioned here.
We're one tanker away from being Augustus Gloop.
Egy kamion választ el minket Charlie csoki gyárától!
Let's talk about Ragata's hair again. In the original, Jax said it looked like licorice. In the Filipino and Hungarian versions, it's candy.
Ako na lang kaya ang pagsalitain mo bago ko isiping mukhang candy ang buhok mo.
Hagyd ezt rám, mielőtt azt mondom, medvecukorból van a hajad.
Interestingly, in Spanish, licorice sounds like regaliz, which is very similar to Ragatha's name, Ragata regaliz. Pretty interesting.
Que tu cabello parece regaliz.
At the beginning of the episode, in the scene with Pomni's nightmare, there are different levels of echo in various versions. In some it's huge, and in others it's almost entirely absent. Compare, for example, the Russian, Ukrainian, and Mexican version.
Bueno, parece que no estaba hecha para eso.
Не всі здатні таки витримати.
The Ukrainian dub was one of the highest quality in the second episode. It added a lot of jokes and interesting adaptations. For example, they cleverly adapted Gamigu's name. Unfortunately, I can't explain it to you because of translation difficulties, but they did a great job in another scene as well. They created new words that perfectly convey the essence of what Jack said in the original.
Let's take this dumb truck to the dumb kingdom, I guess.
Давайте вже просто повернемо цю тупожівку до тупоролівства.
It's been exciting to delve into the dubs of the amazing Digital Circus. I enjoyed all the versions of this episode in their own way. Hopefully the next episode will be released as soon as possible so we can discover what will happen next in this story. See ya!